All right, Cowherd, you agree with Paul Pierce here?
Wilt Chamberlain scored 60 or more 32 times. He scored over 76, no three-pointers, couldn't hit a free throw, quadruple team.
Not dynamic.
Ask the centers who he was jamming over how dynamic he was.
6'5" centers.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Wilt Chamberlain could have scored 70 a night.
He averaged 50 a game.
No, I get it.
If just the word dynamic, there's no way you can say Kevin Durant's more dynamic than Michael Jordan was.
No
if
way.
you want to use that word that Pierce got hung up on, dynamic.
Look, his point, I'm not saying I agree with it, but his point is, could Jordan shoot from as deep as Kevin Durant?
No.
Okay. Does Kevin Durant go to the hole as well as anybody maybe in the league?
Yes.
Does mid-range game, does he have a little bit of a post-up game? He was trying to make a nuanced point. Kevin Durant scores at a high level in a multitude of ways, and not a lot of people. That's a small group of people that can say that.
Look, I get where Pierce was going and kind of where you're going. I would actually have Durant, I think, maybe third all time. Because to your point, what Pierce was saying is Durant is ultimately indefensible because he can do all the things you said. He can score in every single way, and he's 7 feet tall. I used to say he's a 7-foot Steph Curry. Most other great scorers either couldn't do something or you could kind of defend him. As good as Steph is, he's 6'3".
Yeah.
So I can defend him to some degree. As good as Iverson was, he was 6'3" or 5'10", 6 foot. Kobe couldn't shoot like Durant. So I get where he's going, but I would put Kareem. Look, the sky hook.
You couldn't stop him.
But again,
he was 38
dynamic
years
is
old.
the word here.
Okay,
we're talking about multiple ways to score.
Dynamic, I mean, to me, dynamic is wow. And that's Jordan.
Gotcha.
That's Jordan. But I would have Kareem and Jordan and maybe nobody else ahead of Durant.
Durant's career high is 54. That's it. 54 points.
Well, to your point,
dynamic, if you're the most dynamic ever, 54 in a 3 year?
So Kobe's
playing
over
with
Jordan
your boy
because he dropped
Westbrook.
81 then.
I know you trying to turn this into a rant against Westbrook.
Hold on, you just made a good point.
No, I got to back up Whitlock here. I know it's blasphemous to say anybody's better at anything than Jordan, but who else can do, as he said, what Durant does at 7 feet? And I know the changing eras is very difficult because, you could just dump it into Jordan in the post and he'd go to work. What's really helped Durant here is he's been unlocked. All the tools that he has in Golden State, he didn't quite show in OKC. He won an MVP there and was very good. But what you're seeing in Golden State, this is a guy in the finals. Shot 47% from three against LeBron. Shot 55%.
Okay.
Unguardable is the only word, Colin.
What do I want to say this? Let's just say this. Do we all agree that Durant is the most dynamic scorer now? Is that fair? 10 years.
Dynamic may not be the right word, but most versatile.
Okay, so let's agree on that.
Yep.
He's the best, probably the best scorer.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Would we all also acknowledge the game's changed? There's no center.
That's the point.
So I think
not as physical.
Okay.
Michael Jordan sitting at home
Right.
going, I had to go through the Detroit Pistons.
So how about we do
my
this?
brain
And get
beaten.
hammered.
How about this? Wilt in the 60s, early 70s, then Jordan was the next, and now Durant. Because the rules have all changed. I think that's a very fair argument.
So Kobe Bryant gets left out of this discussion.
Absolutely. Kobe doesn't have the range.
Kobe was a clone of Michael Jordan.
No, he was a poor
not
man.
Nearly,
Exactly.
yeah. He
By the
was
way,
not
Dirk
nearly as
Nowitzki
efficient.
is a clone of Durant. He's not as good.
Well, I don't know. He's
He's
not
very
as dynamic
similar,
off the
but I
dribble
think
as
it's fair to say the rules that you had, Wilt was ridiculous.
Right.
Then Jordan was, to your point, tongue out, left, right hand. I think we've had 3 all-time great unstoppable scorers.
Well,
I would put
you
Kareem,
said
yeah.
Kareem,
I'd have
you
to
gotta
put him in
Kareem.
there.
Okay,
He
so
scored the
Wilt,
most points.
Kareem, Michael, Durant.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And
the rules have changed the whole way.
And I think I would say, of that list, I would put Durant 4. And I say that with no disrespect to Durant. But again, because I'll say this. Now, I defended Paul Pierce's position, but at the end of the day, Jordan played in the league where he was punished.
Totally differently,
In
yeah.
the best era of big men ever, too. And he was getting
And
hammered.
he was punished and still
It should be noted, when Jordan drove the lane, there was a 7-footer at the iron.
Yeah.
They've spread the court out.
like
With
this.
elbows. Yeah. With
Durant
elbows.
goes to the hoop, there's nobody there.
Exactly.
Still a lock to win the East?
As currently constructed, no, not a lock. I do think they're going to make a move, though, and I think they have to make a move. But as currently constructed, a lock? Hell no.
What's the move?
Well, I don't know. It's Paul George, perhaps. You know, OKC struggling again. It's maybe DeAndre Jordan. It's somebody. Maybe it's Lou Williams. I don't know. But they need something else to give them some oomph. I don't see. And again, can they win the East as currently constructed? Yes. A lock? No.
Jay Crowder, no longer on Boston. P.J. Tucker's not on Toronto. Who guards LeBron in the East? Toronto and Boston are the only teams that can match up. Who's going to guard LeBron?
But Colin, last year in the Cavs-Celtics series, it wasn't LeBron.
Kyrie Irving. LeBron.
Kyrie Irving was the killer in that game 4. He had like 20-something.
You brought up one game. Did you see game one? LeBron basically ended the series in game 1. He was just
he was dominant with Kyrie Irving
and
by
set
his
the
side.
tone.
To Whitlock's point,
there's nothing left.
29th in defensive efficiency. I know they were bad last year, but 29th and no Kyrie. They are 27th in blocks. They can't protect the rim. The Orlando Magic just ran a layup line against your Cavs last week, dropped 130 points, and they're losing 5 of 7 now, just not even trying. Chris, these habits that they do in the regular season translate into the postseason.
Did it do it last year? They lost 7 of their last 11.
Yes.
They were 500 from January to the end of the season.
No doubt.
Did that translate over?
When you got Kyrie Irving to bail you out all the time,
it was LeBron James. And they got, look, Isaiah Thomas is not Kyrie Irving, but he's pretty darn good. And you added Jeff Green, Jay Crowder, a better bench with Dwayne Wade.
Lock.
I would say 85, 90%.
It's not a lock.
Did you?
Yeah. Let me go back there again.
Way to push him on.
Look, here's the thing. Okay. LeBron's last 4 seasons, he said his years in Cleveland. Go back to even his last year in Miami. 54 wins. The 3 years in Cleveland, 53, 57, 51. He doesn't care about the regular season.
Thank you.
You're on a 53-win pace.
You guys, he's 36-5 since he returned to Cleveland against the East in the playoffs. He is bored out of his mind. Do you guys remember how lopsided that Boston series was?
Yeah,
it was horrible.
It's a joke.
There were 4 horrible. One of them was a 40-point game.
That was game 1.
He's bored.
I mean, come on.
He is bored out of his.
Are they disrespecting the number 1 defensive team in the league?
Yeah,
number 1 defensive efficiency.
I'm telling you, yes, I'm disrespecting.
And Kyrie Irving, arguably the most clutch player in the league. We know what he did in Game 7 of the Finals. None of that strikes fear into.
Do you realize Jason Tatum at the team hotel is not allowed in the bar? Too young.
but Colin,
hey guys, can I join you for a martini? No, you can't actually. You're 19.
But Colin, that's a great point. This is what makes, I believe, the Celtics so dangerous. Brad Stevens does a great job of putting his young players in positions to succeed.
Yes.
They're taking big shots in big spots early in the season, builds confidence, builds depth.
Yes.
Come playoffs, Marcus Smart has guarded LeBron. Jaylen Brown has guarded LeBron. I'm not saying they're going to stop him. But to call Cleveland a lock is a bit premature, Chris.
Well, they've talked me into going LOC. I'm not going to put the A on it, but they've talked me into
that means your argument was weak.